Ezekiel chapter 27. The word of Yahuwah came again to me, saying, Now, son of Adam, take up a lamentation of Zor, and say unto Zor, O you that are situate at the entry of the sea, which are a merchant of the people for many isles, thus says Adonai Yahuwah, O Zor, you have said, I am of perfect beauty. Your borders are in the midst of seas. Your builders have perfected your beauty. They have made all your shipboards for fir trees of Shinar. They have taken cedars from Lebanon to make masts for you. Of the oaks of Bashan have they made you oars. The company of the Asherim have made you benches of ivory, brought you out of the isles of Kittim. Fine linen with broidered work from Mizraim was that which you spread forth to be your sail. Blue and purple from the isles Elishah was that which covered you. The inhabitants of Sidon and Arvad were your mariners. Your wise men, O Zor, they were in you. You were pilots. The ancients of Gival and the wise men thereof were in you. Caulkers. All the ships of the sea with their mariners were in you to occupy your merchandise. They of Persia and of Ludi and of Put were in your army. Your men of war, they hang the shield and helmet in you. They set forth your comeliness. The men of Arvad with your army were upon your walls round about, and the Gamadim were in your towers. They hang their shields upon your walls round about. They have made your beauty perfect. Tarshish was your merchant by reason of the multitude of all kind of riches, with silver, iron, tin, and lead. They traded in your fairs. Yavan, Tubal, and Meshach, they were your merchants. They traded the persons of men and vessels of brass in your market. They of the house of Tagamrah traded in your fairs with horses and horsemen and mules. The men of Dedan were your merchants. Many isles were the merchandise of your hand. They brought you for a present horns of ivory and ebony. Aram was your merchant by reason of the multitude of the wares of your making. They occupied in your fairs with emeralds, purple, embroidered work, and fine linen, and coral, and agate. Yehuda and the land of Yasharel, they were your merchants. They traded in your market wheat of Minith, and Panang, and honey, and oil, and balm. Damascus was your merchant in the multitude of the wares of your making, for the multitude of all riches in the wine of Shoban and white wool. Dan also and Yavan, going to and from, occupied in your fairs, bright iron and cassia, and Calmus were in your market. Dedan was your merchant in precious clothes for chariots. Arav and all the princes of Kedar, they occupied with you in lambs, and rams, and goats, and these were they your merchants. The merchants of Shiva and Ramah, they were your merchants. They occupied in your fairs with chief of all spices, and with all precious stones and gold. Haran and Kina and Eden, the merchants of Shiva, Ashur, and Kelmad, were your merchants. These were your merchants in all sorts of things, in blue clothes and bordered work, and chests of rich apparel, bound with cords and made of cedar, among your merchandise. The ships of Tarshish and did sing you in your market, and you were replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the seas. Your roarers have brought you into the great waters. The east wind has broken you in the midst of the seas. Your riches and your fairs, your merchandise, your mariners and your pilots, your caulkers and the occupiers of your merchandise, and all your men of war that are in you, and all your company which is in the midst of you, shall fall in the midst of the seas in the day of your ruin. The suburbs shall shake at the sound of the cry of your pilots, and all that handle the oar, the mariners, and all the pilots of the sea shall come down from their ships. They shall stand up the land, and shall cause their voice to be heard against you, and shall cry bitterly, and shall cast up dust upon their heads. They shall wallow themselves in the ashes, and they shall make themselves utterly bald for you, and gird them with their sackcloth, and they shall weep for with bitterness of heart and bitter wailing. And in their wailing they shall take up a lamentation for you, and lament over you, saying, What city is like Sor, like the destroyed in the midst of the sea? When your waves went forth out of the seas, you filled many people with you, did enrich the kings of the earth, you the multitude of your riches and your merchandise. In the time when you shall be broken by the seas and the depths of the waters, your merchandise and all your company in the midst of you shall fall. All the inhabitants of the isle shall be astonished at you, and their king shall be sore afraid. They shall be troubled in their countenance. The merchants among the people shall hiss at you. You shall be a terror, and never shall be any more.